You know, I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
In a high school all-star team, I worked all day, put up hay all day, went up there, and had a monster game.
LeBron James, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Caitlin Clark are supposedly involved in a significant surprise that nobody anticipated, shocking the WNBA. The basketball community has been rocked by the revelation, with fans responding in shock. This moment is already being referred to as one of the biggest surprises in sports history, even if all the details are still unknown. There is a lot of conjecture on social media on the implications of this for the WNBA and the game's future. There is no doubt that everything has altered as a result of this news. When the greatest of all time speaks, everyone in the arena holds their breath. This time, Michael Jordan wasn't only thinking about his own legacy. He raised awareness of Caitlin Clark, a rising player whose every shot is transforming women's basketball. In a moment that shocked the court and touched Clark, MJ delivered a moving homage that echoed way beyond the podium. But what specifically did he say that caused the audience to rise? Put on your seat belt. This is a moment you don't want to miss. Michael Jordan and Caitlin Clark's rise. Michael Jordan rarely makes an appearance in the public eye, especially when it comes to non-NBA players. It's intentional. And when a rookie in the WNBA receives that rare spotlight, people pay notice. In order to build his image in the men's league through branding, ownership, and global influence, Jordan has historically avoided voicing many opinions about the women's game in favor of watching from a distance. But when he does speak, especially about a rising talent like Caitlin Clark, it's not all praise. The idea of greatness has drastically changed. Clark is not just collecting information. She is drastically altering the perception of the WNBA. Her arrival has led to unprecedented broadcast viewership and record-breaking attendance figures. With the Indiana Fever, she has turned once quiet games into sold-out events that attract over 1 million fans each time. Her rise is noteworthy, though, in ways that go beyond statistics. It is contained in the ripple effects. Girls are picking up basketballs not only to play but also to be seen and heard in cities where her games are routinely televised, youth basketball programs are growing, and camps are full. Jordan's accomplishments in the men's division are comparable to that kind of influence. In the 1990s, he did more than just win games. He altered the global perception of what a basketball player could represent. His Jordan brand is now subtly forming partnerships with WNBA players, adding a new depth to that heritage. The business section of his empire is evolving to take into account the cultural significance and commercial potential of great female athletes. It is no longer relevant to ask if the women's game has commercial value. It has to do with how quickly that value is accelerating. Clark is at the center of that surge. Jordan's public acknowledgement of someone such as Clark is therefore deliberate. His sporadic but powerful comments are more than just recommendations. They are declarations that demand attention from fans and brands. Few people can compare to the significance of his legacy. He also makes it harder for the sports community to ignore him when he calls attention to someone. It's a kind of cultural transfer that is not mentorship but goes beyond endorsement. Social media has simply made that crossing energy more intense. Notoriety these days isn't confined to award events or ESPN interviews. Thanks to technologies like Instagram and TikTok, celebrities can publicly support one another, communicate in real time, and tell stories that cut across gender and league boundaries. In that context, Jordan's acknowledgement of Clark landed as a crucial moment that went viral on the internet rather than as a quiet gesture. Corporate branding has rapidly gained popularity. Joint marketing with male and female athletes involves more than just visibility. They emphasize synergy, a strategy that enables spectators to imagine unbridled basketball greatness. As more companies pursue this objective, both established legends and up-and-coming celebrities are being pulled into shared limelight moments. In those moments when the past and future converge, someone like Jordan may affirm a force like Clark without saying much. And when Jordan's comments seem to be unparalleled, why would Shaq and Larry Bird suddenly offer their own unexpected admiration? Watch out. When the greats couldn't take their eyes off Caitlin Clark, Larry Bird, who isn't known for large public gestures or spectacular headlines, said something that had a greater impact than it sounded. He admitted, in his usually quiet voice, that he had been watching Iowa as intensely as his own alma mater, Indiana State, which was the beginning of his legendary career in the late 1990s, during the previous season. It wasn't ostentatious. It wasn't overdone, yet it said everything for a player of Bird's caliber. Bird doesn't waste words. When he puts Caitlin Clark on the same conceptual level as the games that have influenced his career, people take notice. More intriguing is the kind of basketball that Bird likes. He doesn't keep up with the hype. He values decision-making, vision, and hard effort. And Clark's style reflects precisely that. Her quick reflexes, speed management, and long-range accuracy all reflect the traits that once defined Bird. It wasn't just a compliment. Demonstrated respect, a form of admiration, for how the game is supposed to be played. Bird's small winks spoke louder than words to those who know how rare it is for women's basketball to attract the attention of famous players. But Shaquille O'Neal quickly added his own unexpected voice to the growing list of greats. O'Neal was showy, loud, and intensely committed. Now that he was closely observing Caitlin Clark, it took Shaq a while to grow fond to Clark. Early in her WNBA career, his devotion to Angel Reese, a player he has continuously publicly supported, was clear. But as Clark proceeded to govern with grace, confidence, and skill at gametering, something shifted. There were other elements besides the media and hype. It was what he had observed firsthand. And when he finally addressed it, there was a clear shift in tone. "I'm not Shaq anymore." He put aside his ostentatious notoriety for a time and said, "I'm a fan." He wasn't just praising her. He explained. He talked about how she makes play, how she improves everyone around her, and how she might open doors. He emphasized that her decisions were not only attractive but also sensible. Shaq has been used to play legends. He recognizes the difference between sustained greatness and transient thrills. He perceived the latter in Clark. Despite his prior status, his compliment came so naturally that it was all the more impressive. There was no reluctance. He acknowledged that television might skew a player's performance, but he maintained that Clark's game was far superior in person. Her choice of shots, her movement, and her leadership all translated. Shaq didn't like sound bites. He was genuinely amazed by her maturity, expertise, and control on the floor. He also made it clear that her behavior is unusual. Celebrities like Bird and Shaq acknowledging you is more than just validation. It's a shift in how those who have defined the game see it. Their regard is not motivated by feelings. It is the outcome of years of investigation on what distinguishes outstanding basketball players. And why, with the din of legends still echoing around her, was Caitlin Clark left off of Team USA's Olympic roster? Is there more to the story? Let's look into it. Criticism can lead to a comeback, as demonstrated by Caitlin Clark's quiet revolt. There is a certain stillness associated with exclusion. Not the kind that echoes through an empty arena, but the kind that remains in your chest when your name isn't on the list. Despite the difficulties Caitlin Clark has previously faced, being excluded from the U.S., the Olympic roster was burdened by the fact that there were multiple competitions. The symbolic message scared both fans and critics. For many, it was unthinkable. On the global stage, a player who had boosted TV viewership, packed arenas, and reignited interest in women's basketball is suddenly marginalized. It was not comfy. Not everyone, though, believed it to be a disaster. Dwight Howard, who had both highs and lows in his NBA career, saw it as a test that would be useful. This should motivate her to work harder at the gym, he said without sugarcoating his sympathy. It was not a jab, but a challenge. Howard wasn't minimizing her pain. He was pointing to what was beyond it. He had seen it before. Often overlooked athletes managed to make everyone regret it. He was expecting a lot from Caitlin. It's possible that Caitlin's seclusion gave her some much-needed space. Without the pressure of an Olympic schedule and the scrutiny of every possession magnified on the international stage, she managed to find time to refocus. When she wasn't in Paris, she could practice her craft in peace. As the cameras moved, she stayed in the gym. She had no fire to display. She took care of herself. It was happening consistently and in silence, even if the supporters weren't there for every extra drill or late-night filming session. In other news, former NBA guard Jeff Teague did not remain silent. He thought the WNBA had lost a fantastic opportunity. He shook his head, saying, "They played this all wrong." Teague was clearly irritated when he spoke, despite the fact that he had never been interested in generating headlines. The league had alienated many of Caitlyn's admirers in addition to underutilizing her. Games were selling out all of a sudden. The goods were flying. There were more people on social media. Still, her welcome had been everything but friendly. He thought Teague wasn't by himself. Rick Barry, a Hall of Famer, refined him. Caitlyn was subjected to severe and personal physical assault. "It's reprehensible," he said of the ongoing targeting. "Rookies weren't usually treated this way." Barry, a player who played during a time when serious fouls were frequent, said it all. He was troubled by more than just the exchange. The message was top-down. If stars aren't safeguarded, what kind of tone does it set? During those early months, each game she played had extra meaning. Every foul felt like a challenge. Every star has a caution. Still, just focus. No drama. No angry interviews. She processed it all calmly and competently. Gradually, things began to shift. Her teammates were taller than her. Rivals noticed, even if they refused to admit it. The silence that had earlier felt like rejection gave rise to a new kind of tension. It was no longer a sign of doubt. It hinted to something evolving. Because record-breaking numbers and packed venues are no longer the only things that matter. Caitlyn Clark is beginning to be acknowledged as a force in the basketball world. As Legends Game keeps speaking, her quiet reverence starts to feel more like prophecy. So what comes next? Stay tuned because this is only the beginning of the story. The flames are too much for them to ignore. From the outside, it looks like a steady rise, yet at its center, a storm is building. Pressure, legacy, expectations, and jealousy are directed on one player. And when someone like Michael Jordan says, the basketball community listens. He wasn't merely praising Caitlyn. They received a torch. He said, "She's got that fire." When Jordan remarked, "the kind that scares people," and said she's better than every player on the 2025 U, he did not mean opponents on the scoreboard. Olympic squad. He was talking about people who saw her success as a threat rather than as an inspiration. He noted that the way they pursue her has nothing to do with the game. It is related to fear. From the guy who spent a lifetime using every shot to quiet critics, his message was clear. Ignore distractions, stay focused, and let the game speak. It wasn't an inspirational speech. It functioned as a guide. After all, Jordan was a real-life illustration of what it felt like to be scrutinized, questioned, and reduced to a symbol instead of a person. When he saw that same fire in Caitlyn, it was a silent confirmation that she belonged in the same precious air and wasn't just getting nods from the past. She has the present's attention as well. Although Caitlyn is often likened to Steph Curry due to her exceptional range and quick release, Curry sees more in her than simply a sniper. "The shot makes news," he said. Her floor game, however, is what truly makes her stand out. From a four-time NBA champion whose own career revolutionized modern basketball, that is hardly flattering. It is the recognition of a mirror image. They are both sneaker revolutionaries, showmen, and strategists. When he narrowly defeated Sabrina Ionescu in a historic NBA against WNBA three-point shootout, Steph's adoration was made public. Caitlyn taking center stage and perhaps challenging Steph is no longer out of the question. She has been questioned by someone. She is amenable, but so far she has declined. And everyone in the basketball world is anticipating that day. All of this simply exacerbates the question that many people are now asking in hushed tones or shouting from sports panels. Does Caitlyn Clark play for the WNBA? Examine the numbers. During prime time, once shadowy TV ratings are now beaming brightly. Areas that couldn't accommodate a playoff game are packed for a regular season game. Now, businesses that had never dealt with the league before are racing to sign agreements. Private planes, national campaigns, and viral highlight reels all circle around the same gravitational force. Magic Johnson and Caitlyn Clark, who had experienced changing the course of basketball history, didn't hesitate. She has done for the WNBA what Larry and I did for the NBA. He claimed that when he and Larry Bird joined the league, they saved it instead of just playing. Clark's effect is now measured on the same scale. Although they might not have expected it, her peers are also gaining from this kind of attention. Exposure, investment, and better situations, everything revolves around her. Nonetheless, a few league members have reacted in a neutral or even hostile way. The undercurrent, the harsh treatment, the criticism, and the icy shoulders are hard to ignore. Is it rivalry, insecurity, or something else entirely? She hasn't allowed it to stop her, whatever it may be. If anything, it has strengthened her resolve. Caitlin says it's not about being liked. It has to do with heritage. She is not asking to play for the women's basketball team. She just keeps becoming it. Every shot she makes and every court she plays on raises the stakes. And whether or not the league agrees with the shift, it is already happening. Caitlin Clark is becoming engrossed in the game. What happens next might totally change the playbook. Stay tuned, because the legends are finally speaking. Moments are waiting. There is an old saying in basketball circles that goes, "Game recognizes game." It's more than just a catchphrase, it's a gauge of legacy. Caitlin Clark is now in a unique situation where legends start to take notice. Not too long ago, she was a college sensation, flooding social media with highlight after highlight and lighting up scoreboards. But since going into the workforce, she has developed into something much more. Potential is no longer a consideration. Impact is involved. Some of the most famous people in the history of the game are now publicly contributing their voices to hers. Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky, names etched in gold across their respective sports, have all paid tribute to Caitlin's fire in different ways. MJ, who is known for his circumspect compliments, broke his quiet to criticize the system that surrounds her as well as to recognize her skill. The basketball community was affected by his clear and concise message. The WNBA is very grateful for Caitlin's contributions to the game. Those words were more than just an endorsement from a man who built a worldwide empire via performance, arrogance, and overwhelming dominance. They functioned as a directive. He didn't stop there. He objected to the officiating, to Clark's hits, and to everyone's acquiescence. The league must atone. He wasn't asking. His expectations were high. Not everyone is cheering despite all the excitement. There's a visible yet slight tension building. It can be seen in body language, heard in locker room interviews, and deduced from criticism from seasoned female players. Megan Rapinoe offered a sophisticated but perceptive perspective since she had experience handling the weight of expectations. Even without naming individuals, her message was unmistakable. There's pressure. Sometimes you just have to play through it, she continued. It wasn't animosity. It was a reminder. Every generation has its share of difficulties. The illumination is accompanied by shadows. Would you like to be respected? Make it every night. But what if you've already done that? Caitlin is neither dodging the questions nor downplaying the grave transgressions since she isn't begging for sympathy. By attending every game, location, and headline, she breaks rookie records, revitalizes teams, and turns basketball into a must-watch in regions that haven't given a damn in years. She's not just coping with the stress. She is exhibiting a level of calm under pressure that athletes 10 years older sometimes lack. Her stat numbers are still ridiculous, but they are no longer the main focus. It has to do with the amount of space she is taking up in conversations that were previously unrelated to the WNBA. It's the way she's changing the economics of the game. When Rachel Diaz said she moved the needle, she was telling the truth. In addition to selling jerseys, Caitlin Clark modifies advertising costs. Broadcast schedules make room for her. Analysts who used to scarcely talk about women's basketball now devote entire portions to her appearance. She's not a budding star anymore. She is the event. That kind of energy encourages resistance. There's always a tinge of discomfort when someone modifies the rules so quickly. This does not, however, change the current reality. Legends are watching. Steph Curry dissected her shooting style on public television. Gretzky praised her leadership and poise. These are serious comments. From the top of the mountain, there are affirmations. When a rookie basketball player outside of hockey is publicly acknowledged by the great Wayne Gretzky, it's not a compliment. It's a sign that something out of the ordinary is happening. None of it has yet been requested by Caitlin. No grandiose speeches, no media disputes, no self-celebration, just basketball. She sets the bar high for herself and lets others catch up. She gets back up after the hard fouls. She answers the weighty questions with grace. She keeps playing in spite of opposition from other league players. She appears to have been given the entire weight of the sport at times. And instead of falling under it, she's skillfully balancing it on her shoulders. She exudes a certain inner beat that says, "You can hit me, doubt me, watch me, but you won't stop me." Even in the face of challenges that are well above what any rookie should be able to bear, like questionable officiating, hushed animosity, and the scrutiny of every move, that is more than simply talent. That's presence. Additionally, players' presence makes them icons. She is not waiting for the game to catch up to her. She is pulling it forward. The records, the opposition, the adulation, the criticism. Everything is now a part of the same current. A movement driven not only by her shot but also by the energy she radiates, the conversation she starts, and the implicit confidence that she is far from finished. Caitlin Clark is no longer only a fictional character. Everything is held together by her. But when Curry, Gretzky, and Michael Jordan all back a rookie WNBA player, what does that mean, in your opinion? We would want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.